Hello, friends. Greetings and salutations. Monday morning words coming out of my face. Good to see you. It's Katie Rubin, your friendly neighborhood modern mystic, energy healer, divine light channel. Coming at you live from the East Coast. Living it, loving it, doing it, having it. You ever have one of those days where your life just starts and you're not there yet? And like shit's ahead of you and you're just living, but not caught up with the moment that you're in. That's the kind of morning I'm having. That's apropos of nothing. You're welcome for a little insight into my day. I have opened the Akashic records of you and let's see what's going on. I had somebody this weekend say to me, so what's that thing you do on the internet there? Is that like fortune telling? Is that fortune telling? Is that what you do? And I was like, no, that's not what it is. And then I didn't explain any further. Then that person also said, you know, those introductions at the beginning, if you would just get to it, it's like so long, I just flip away. And you know, there's a nice little piece of teaching in here. So I'm not just ranting randomly. Everybody, when you become someone who says, hey world, here's what I think and here's what I do, and you tell the world who you are and you offer things to it, there are always people who want it to be different, think things about it, judge it, don't understand it, whatever. And some of them are going to be vocal and tell you that you should do it different. And the interesting thing about being a person is looking at where are the lines between, like, where is the line? Like, when is it time to take feedback and use it in a way, like, when is it going to benefit you? And when is it just some clown with a point of view? And you have to just go, cool, I hear your point of view and I do what I like and I do what's right for me. I think the bottom line is if somebody gives feedback that when you sit with it over time, it won't leave you alone. And you realize in that deep, inner, quiet, intuitive, honest, vulnerable part of yourself that if you were to internalize what they were offering, you might get more of what you're looking to get out of the scenario than it's something to do. But it's all about what are your priorities and what are your needs. So for me, I need this thing that I do with you guys to be something that is also satisfying for me. So for me, I like to chat at the beginning and talk about concepts and principles. If the people for whom that is too many words, I understand, then this is not for you. If you need it to get smacked to the thing, then this is not for you. But notice in your life how many places you're making the thing you're doing wrong because somebody else said that it's not for them. Think about every breakup you've been through. Think about every job you've lost. Think about anything where things haven't played out the way you maybe wanted them to. And to what degree did you make yourself wrong? And say like, boy, it must be me and I should do this differently and I'm doing it wrong and that's why it's not working. What if it just wasn't for them? It's kind of like when you think about a flower growing in the ground and it grows up. The flower needs water and sunlight. That's what a flower needs. If you spray, I don't know, hairspray on a flower, it's going to kill the flower. You know why? Because hairspray is not for flowers and flowers are not for hairspray. Is the flower wrong because it doesn't grow underneath the spray of hairspray? It's not. It just doesn't work for a flower when you spray hairspray on it. So I just want to offer you that as a perspective shift the next time you go to judge yourself because somebody outside of you tells you that they would like what you're doing to be different. Again, this isn't an excuse to never change and never adapt and never grow and always justify, I'm good the way I am and the world can't have an input on me or an impact on me and the world can give me no input. We don't want to become rigid, self-justifying monsters of ego. We can't do that. But people who want something like an Akashic Records reading tend to be empaths, and you guys tend to be psychic and creative and spiritual, and empaths tend to go first to, there's something wrong with me. So anyway, This person was correct that if I were to just get right to it, he would like it more. But it's not for him. It's for whoever it's for. I'm of the belief that you do what is correct for you, you be who you are, and then who you are correct for shows up for that. And that's how to be satisfied with who you are and fulfilled in your waking experience of life, and also contribute to others without draining the tank of you. There's something Teal Swan said recently I really loved. She said, if what you're doing, if you don't love doing, come on in here, Squeezel. She's late to the party, you guys. If you don't love doing what you're doing the way that you're doing it, come on up. Come say hi to the people. Come on. Get up here. Come on. Come on. Thank you. Here we are. Should we say hi to Squeezel? And there she is. Hello. Mwah, 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 mwah. All the love. If you don't love doing the thing the way you're doing it, then you're actually taking from the people that you're theoretically giving to. Think about that. If you don't love doing what you're doing the way you're doing it, then you have to look at, why are you doing it that way? 9 times out of 10, it's because you think you have to, or you think they won't listen if you don't. But then what you're doing is putting on a show or putting a mask on top of who you are so that they will like you, which, guess what? Makes the thing you're doing about you, not about them. Whereas, here's the paradox and the weird twist of reality. If you always serve yourself and are authentic in what you do, in other words, if what you're doing is something you want to be doing, you want to do it, not you should do it, not your parents said you should want to do it, not society says it's the right thing, but you want to do it, then you feel a kind of fulfillment in doing it that makes the doing of it for the people true and authentic and aligned. If you give yourself away in the doing of something, then you are manipulating the people you're doing it with. You don't mean to, but you are. Because you have to look at it. You have to be willing to take inventory and say, if I'm giving it to them, but I don't want to give it to them, or not all of me wants to, then what I'm trying to do is get from them a feeling of validation for me. I'm going to do this for you so I feel validated and whole. And that is your issue. And then you're making your issues their problem. And nobody likes that. So you must be authentic and true to yourself in the doing of what you offer to other people. Otherwise, it's a manipulation of them and it's a codependent enmeshment, and people will start to pull away from it. So that is the way that selfishness is actually altruistic. If you have questions about this, please post it underneath this video because there's a lot to this. It's a very deep thing, detoxing from codependency. All right, there's my long chit chat at the beginning of my reading. Guy who had a feeling about it. In the recent past, we have the Golden Palace card upside down. Let's read what the hell that's about. Let go of your tight hold on what you believe security should look like. Now is the time to conserve your energy and count your blessings. Resist the pull to become miserly. I love this. There will be enough money, love, youth, food, and shelter to go around. A mindset of fear and lack will shut off the flow of true abundance. Trust in the tides, because the flow always returns from the ebb. Chop wood, carry water, as the Chinese proverb says. Practice faith and the treasure will be revealed. In fact, you'll find it in plain sight. It's so good. That's just so good. And remember, you guys, this is in our recent past. So something in the recent past has you maybe inclined to be a bit miserly, like to hold on to your money and don't let it go, or hold on to your whatever and don't give it, don't let it go, don't give it to the world. Resist the pull to become miserly. There will be enough money, love, youth, food, and shelter. You know how many people I know torture themselves over love because they're so convinced there's only one love like this one? No, there's not. There's a lot of love out there. It's just, and I'll tell you something, if you're into human design, if you look at your design and you have an open spleen people, if you have no definition in the splenic center, can be people who have a really hard time with this concept of like, there's a lot of love out there, I promise. You don't have to hold on to this one so tightly because you believe there's no more. There's a lot more. Open spleen is out of fear, I hold on. So the freedom of the open spleen is you're free to practice letting go. Now, that's not easy for somebody with open spleen, but it's a practice and it's a little mantra you can live into. What am I holding on to out of fear? And what do I believe? What is the fear born of? What belief is the fear born of? Oh, do I believe that this love was so intense and so perfect that there can't possibly be something better or something that works better in my reality, for example? Do I believe that this job used to be so perfect for me, so it has to still be, even though it doesn't feel perfect anymore? Do I believe that I can't let go of these clothes in my closet because I have, I used to wear that shirt all the time, but I haven't worn it in 10 years, but I used to love it, so I should. This is all like that fear, that miserliness that in the recent past year, we're being guided to shift away from, which brings us to the present moment. We have the listening card again. I don't know if you guys were here on Friday, but we got the listening card in this exact position on Friday, which is kind of cool. An open heart will hear the message. When this card appears, you're being reminded that there is a time to speak and a time to be silent. Now is an occasion for listening. Pay attention not only to what is being spoken, but also to what is not being said at the moment, for the deeper message is not always obvious. The deeper message is not always obvious. Listen with your heart, not just your ears, and you'll find clarity. Receiving the listening card is a fortunate sign and ensures a greater understanding of your circumstances. Pretty straightforward, but it's a deep thing. I find for myself personally, if I didn't have tools of understanding about what are the possible options of what could be the deeper teaching here? If you don't have a mental framework for what could be the deeper teaching, for example, if nobody's ever said to you, when you have resentment, there's some fear under there. And when you have resentment, there's probably a need you have that is not getting met. How would you then know to look for what is the fear and what is the need? You wouldn't know to look for it, right? So it's we have to learn tools in life for understanding ourselves. Human beings are complicated creatures. As much as we're I'm pretty simple. A lot of people say this shit. Oh, it's football, a beer, and I hang out with my friends. Yeah, and if you had less beer, how would you feel then? What if I took your beer away? How would you navigate reality if you couldn't numb out all the time? That leads you to having to face the reality of what do you actually need and what actually works for you and what doesn't. But if you don't know the mechanics of how the human being operates, then people just live in their defenses their entire lives and then wonder why they're not fulfilled. Anyhoozle. The outcome card is commitment. Very interesting. Let's see what's going on with that. A true commitment is a responsibility of the heart, mind, body, and soul. This is a good time to make one. This is the outcome coming around the corner. Okay. Partnerships formed at this time are harmonious and powerful. The commitment card also indicates the natural evolution of a relationship from its inception to a literal or metaphoric marriage. Interesting. At the very least, there is a promise of fulfillment in some form. However, you must be conscious of what you're committing to. Be clear about the nature of your commitment and your responsibility to it. Others are more willing to enter into partnerships at this time. Remember that your partnership with spirit and the highest version of your own self will engage the highest self of another. So in the recent past, we've been reminded that you can let go. You can trust. There will be enough food, youth, money, love, nurturance. You don't have to hold on so tight. In the present moment, we're being encouraged to listen deeply. What is the deeper teaching underneath the thing you're going through at this moment? And the outcome is the commitment card, where a true commitment is a responsibility of the heart, mind, body, and soul. This is a good time to make one. I love this. This card indicates the natural evolution of a relationship from its inception to a literal or metaphoric marriage. At the very least, there's a promise of fulfillment in some form. This card, remember, doesn't mean literally, it could be a metaphoric marriage. We're not always talking about romantic love leading to ring on finger, walk down the aisle, although it could be that for you. But it could be a metaphoric marriage, like something you commit to in a way that you're like, I'm doing this for good and I'm committed now. However, be conscious of what you're committing to. Be clear about the nature of your commitment and your responsibility to it. Others are more willing to enter into partnerships at this time. Remember, your partnership with spirit and the highest version of your own self will engage the highest self in another. Isn't that nice? I want to thank all of you guys who this past week emailed me and letting me know that how the readings are resonating for you. I so appreciate your feedback. It means a lot to me. Like, I know I started this video today like, back off with your feedback, bitch. But that was a different kind of feedback. That's the kind of feedback where someone wants to tell you, I want the thing you're doing to be a different thing. In which case I go, watch a different fucking video then, bro. But when you give feedback that's like, oh my God, that resonated in this way, and that was true in my life in this way. And frankly, if you had useful feedback that was like, hey, did you know that if you do this with the lights, like Jeff told me at some point, like about the circle lights, like put the light higher. I don't remember what he told me, but when I do it, that works. That was useful feedback. I didn't ask for it. Frankly, it was unsolicited, which I find annoying, but it was helpful and it was correct. So we're learning about discernment in life all the time. Anyway, please send your feedback. If this moves you, if this resonates for you, if you're getting something out of this, you're doing me a really big favor when you tell me that that's the case, because it motivates me to keep going. Like, this is a gift I give, you know, because I like giving it. And part of what makes me like it is that it's doing something useful for you. We probably should talk at a certain point again. Perhaps I'll do this next time, about like, how does all of this work and what are the Akashic records and what am I really doing here? No, it's not fortune telling, because that's very diminishing and devaluing of the work I do. But it is, I am pulling information from a field of consciousness that is more vast than the limited one that our thoughts and feelings create and see, the filters through which we normally are looking. So I think next time we meet, I'll talk a little bit more about that. If you were a follower of Katie Church at all, you'll notice I've been off for a bit. I haven't had time, frankly. I'm doing a lot of stuff, but it'll be back at some point soon, so keep your eye out on that. Couple offerings, let's see. Star Beings, my mid-level to advanced energy healing class starts this week on Thursday. Yeah, that's true. 10 a.m. to noon. OMA Pittsburgh, my affordable energy healing class that has more people in it, but is very profound. We do energy work each time. Happens Wednesday nights. We start this Wednesday, January 11th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Go to omapittsburgh.org, omapittsburgh.org for information about that. That class is very affordable, you guys. It's a really good way to do a lot of work, understand a lot of things, deepen your process, clear your trauma, integrate your stuff, etc., etc. Let's see, come see some improv comedy at First Coast Comedy. January 29th, you really need to put this one on your calendar. January 29th, I'm producing a stand-up comedy show. I have two headliners from, like, nationally touring headliners, both of whom are seated in Orlando. They live in Orlando, coming to Jacksonville to do a stand-up comedy show for you, hosted by the fabulous local talent Marcus Crespo, who we all love and adore. So Marcus Crespo, Darren Evans, I hope I'm saying these guys' names right, and Ross Paget. It's going to be a banger effing show. January 29th, 7 p.m., firstcoastcomedy.com for your tickets. I love you guys. Oh, writing class. My writing and alignment class starts again, not this week, but next week, Thursday evenings, 6 p.m. East Coast time. So let me know if you have questions about that. And as always, you can book your private session at katierubin.com, where I'll open the Akashic records, bring a ton of energy through to heal your trauma, give you any guidance and direction you need in your life. And if you're ready for your human design reading, katierubin.com. I love you guys. Take care. You be you. Do it your way, in the way that satisfies you, in the way that brings success and fulfillment to you. And those for whom that is correct will come calling. I promise.